Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials or any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank
So we completed PCF and microservices. And actually we are in day 13. 1 day of PCF remaining topics and deployment of microservices to PCF is still pending. So actually 1 day we'll see at last we'll push everything to Cloud Foundry and I'll show you the rest of topics. Whenever possible in this week, I'll switch back to PCF. But now let us talk about security. Actually, this is the agenda for day 14, but we are in day 13 only. 1 day of PCF is postponed. So we'll see now the basics of Spring Security, how Spring Security works for web applications, and various internals of Spring Security, auto configurations, etc. today. Then tomorrow we'll be discussing about how to store credentials in database, customization of form login, enabling HTTPS, etc. And then we'll start with OAuth. Actually, for microservices, mostly we use OAuth for securing microservices. But if you want to work with OAuth, you need to understand about the basics of how actual Spring Security internally works. So Spring Security is a very vast topic. There are multiple ways of authentication, right? So here I'm going to actually give you the fundamentals of how Spring Security works, internals, auto configurations, all these things. And then we'll start with OAuth. Then we'll see how to actually write a client or an application which is secured using OAuth. We'll write our own authorization server, right? And also I'll show you how to use third-party authorization servers like Keycloak or any other things. Mostly I'll show you Keycloak, the popular one. And then we'll see about various types of tokens, various types of clients, grants, etc. Then we will discuss about how to secure endpoints using form login, how to configure a resource server, how to configure OAuth client, how to actually apply security at the gateway level, how to various ways to secure resource servers, how to write clients, etc. So we'll be going in detail about security, no doubt about it. We'll see various scenarios. Let us start with basics of Spring Security today. Okay, so you might be knowing in Spring Security, or sorry, Spring MVC, all the requests will be by default coming to dispatcher servlet, right? In MV and C is a controller, or the front controller is nothing but dispatcher servlet in Spring MVC, right? All the requests will come to dispatcher servlet, and then dispatcher servlet will delegate to any other controllers which we define in our application. This will act like a front controller. Now what I want is, even before the request comes to dispatcher servlet, I want the logic to check whether user is authenticated already or not. If not, redirect him to a login page. So I want to do some pre-processing logic to check security even before the request even comes to dispatcher servlet. So as you know, in servlet API, we have filters. filter can be written so that when even before the request comes to dispatches servlet, the request will come to filter. Filter can execute some logic, whatever is required for security. So in Spring Security, using boot, what we do is we define a bean called as delegating filter proxy. Delegating filter proxy. This is a servlet filter, right? And this delegating filter proxy, we map it to /star. That means all requests will come to delegating filter proxy, even before it comes to dispatches. And now there are multiple filters, one for each functionality. One filter to check for authentication, one filter for authorization, one filter for logout, one filter for remember me, one filter for maybe cross-site request forgery. Like that, in security, there are a lot of aspects. It's not only about authentication and authorization. There are other things like session management. Session management means what? I'm not talking about HTTP session management. I'm talking about concurrent logins. So maybe my web application, I want my user to be logged in from maximum 2 devices. So I want only 2 concurrent sessions. So that's session management. So for each and every functionality, we have a separate filter in Spring. So combining all these filters in Spring, there is an object called as filter chain. Filter chain is, as the name says, it's an object which has chain of filters, right? Now, whenever request comes to delegating filter proxy will delegate to one more bean called as filter chain proxy. Okay, and this filter chain proxy will delegate to filter chain. Then all the filters will be executed in the order. If everything is okay, that means user is authenticated, everything is okay, then only the control comes to dispatches servlet and the rest of the flow will be as usual, right? So in Spring Security, we can have multiple filter chains, chain of filters. This is one filter chain and this is another filter chain. Maybe for URLs /admin /*, I want a different way of authentication. And for rest of all the URLs, I want a different way of authentication, right? So what I want is whenever admin functionality is getting requested, whenever admin functionality has to be accessed, the URLs of all admin related code, admin related controllers will be following this pattern in my application. So whenever any admin is logging in, I want him to use a different authentication mechanism. For rest of the users, I want different. Maybe I will allow Google authentication or Facebook authentication for other users. But for administrators, I want to authenticate based on the data in my database or so, right? So in such cases, you will be having multiple filter chain, one filter chain for a particular authentication mechanism, right? Filter chain proxy wraps these filter chains. There can be multiple filter chains, right? So you till now understood that Spring Security is internally implementing all the logic using filters. There are multiple filters, maybe one for authentication, one for authorization, remember me, cross-site request forgery, session management, etc. Right? So all that filters are chained together using an object called as filter chain. There can be multiple filter chains. For each authentication mechanism you want, you can have multiple filter chains. So we have to map each filter chain for what URLs. Maybe I'll say /admin /** to first filter chain, and for second filter chain slash star star, right? Like that we need to do. Okay, so these are the fundamentals. And few more things I want you to understand before I go into further. I want you to understand about security terminology. First of all, I want you to understand about an object called as principal. What is a principal? Can anyone tell me? What is a principal in security terminology? Principal is an object which represents a logged in user or a logged in device or whatever. So it represents a logged in user, I can say, right? So one principal can have multiple authorities. Authorities, I can say simply like roles as of now. Actually, there's a difference between a role and an authority. I will tell you when I go further. One principal can have multiple roles. So once a user is successfully authenticated in Spring Security, what it will do is it will create an object called as authentication. It will create an object of authentication and populate this with principal and authorities of the user, logged in user. Then this authentication will be populated inside one more object called as security context. Okay. And then security context will be populated inside HTTP session. So this all will happen when user is logged in. So once user logs in, I'll show you how it happens, everything step by step. Once user logs in, Spring Security will create an object called as principal. Principal is an object which represents the currently logged in user or currently logged in device, etc. And one principal can have multiple authorities. So once user is logged in, it will fetch its authorities and create authentication object. Authentication will be populated into security context object, and security context will be populated into HTTP session. Now, whenever request is coming, I said that the request will go through set of filters in a filter chain, right? One of the filter needs to check whether user is already logged in or not, right? How does one of the filter know whether user is logged in?
Hey viewers, our Mastery in DevOps engineering program can help you to hone the skills necessary to succeed in high-level DevOps positions. So what are you waiting for? Enroll now and earn certification that show you are keeping pace with today's technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
Or not. Simple. If security context object is there in session, that means user is logged in. No, security context is not there in session, that means user is not logged in. So it's very simple to identify whether user is logged in or not, right? So one of the filter, we'll see various filters step by step. One of the filter will check whether user is authenticated or not based on what? If security context is available in session, user is logged in, else not logged in. Very simple. So I want you to understand this one, right? So later I'll connect all of this step by step. I'll show you various filters. But now I want you to understand a basic application which I have. Okay. So I'll be working on this project, Spring Security Basic Start. I'll tell you where you can get it. I'll be working on labs, don't worry. So this is my Spring Security starter application. I'll explain you what all is there. Right now there is no security for this application. Let me show you. Here I have only application.java. See here, this is the main class which is annotated with Spring Boot application, and rest all are commented. Okay, nothing inside it as of now. It is no security. And here I have hello controller, a simple controller where /hello is mapped to this method. It expects name as request parameter and returns hello plus name. Similarly for /admin/hello. So a simple control. Right now there is no security. And if you see, I have my other configuration file where I can, there is nothing, no importance for this right now. I have already written it for another purpose. Let me just comment this out as well. Nothing inside it, okay? Even I can just comment out this part. Nothing inside it. And here I have one more class. Here also I don't have anything. Everything is commented. Just a class is that. We will see. I'll add few more functionalities to this later, but right now nothing. And one more class is there here. Admin security configuration. Here also I don't have anything. Everything is commented. Right? So right now my application is not having any sort of security. Let me try to run it and access it. Then slowly, step by step, I will secure it. Right? Let me start it. So if it starts, I have to give a request to /hello and see whether this is coming or not without any security or without logging in, etc. Okay. So I'll go to localhost 8080/hello and name is equals to, I'll pass query parameter, name is equal to Siva. Hey, am I getting hello Siva? Yes, no security till now. Now what I'll do is simply I'll add a dependency. Really boot is so beautiful, I will say. Without writing any code, auto configurations are there which will automatically configure everything. If I just add a dependency, that's all. If I want to secure my application, first step I'm going to do, see here, I'm going to my pom.xml and here I will just add a dependency of Spring Boot Starter Security. That's all. Till now my application is not secured. Right now I added only one dependency, Spring Boot Starter Security. Now let us see. I will restart my application. So actually once I add dependency, auto configurations of Spring Boot will configure all the beans related to security. I'll walk you through all the beans, right? But just let us see this working application. Now, if you see the console, oh yeah, here you can see using generated security password. Oh, some password is printed on the console and Tomcat got started. So now let me just go and refresh. I'll just go and open again one more browser. And now you can see I was redirected to a login page. Oh, did I create any such login page? No. This is a predefined login page by Spring Security. I didn't do anything. I just added dependency in pom.xml. It got. Hey, don't worry about this username. It got populated because of some cookies on my browser. Okay. Now, by default, Spring Security will create a user called as a user, and password for that user is printed on the console. So here you can see the password. It will create this password and then print it. Now I'll just use username as user. Password is whatever is printed on the console. Now if I click on sign in, hey, I got access to. I got hello Siva, right? So now what I want is, I don't like the randomly generated password. I don't like the username to be user. I want to give my own username. So what I can do is very simple. I'll go to my YAML file here I will write Spring dot secure dot, let's wait, it's come to propose Spring dot security dot. Okay, wait, sometimes again opening will help. Spring dot security dot user dot name. I want to give the username as my user and password as my password. Whatever. I just want to give my own username and password. Let us say I'll just restart it. So now the password should not be generated automatically and it should not be printed. Let us see. Oh yeah, what happened? Again this password got generated. No, it should not. Let me stop it. What is the error actually? Oh, there's some error in the project. Well, let me go to pom.xml. There's some error. Or some plugin problem. Sometimes these problems come in Spring Toolsuite. So in such cases, what I'll do is I'll just right click on this Maven update project and I do a force update once. So it will not give any such problems. Okay, now see the error is gone. Let me start it again. Okay, now let us see here on the console. Is there password printed? No, right? So let me just give a request again. Localhost 8080/hello, and I'll give some name. Oh, it is directly coming. 1 minute. I'll close my browser and then I'll open a private window so that cookies, anything will not be used. Yeah, see, I got redirected to login page. Just wait. Yes, I got redirected to login page. Now here I'll give what is my username, my user, and my password. My user and my password. I should be able to log in, right? So we just got some basic features of Spring Security without writing any code.
Hey viewers, trying to get into DevSecOps? Enroll for our DevSecOps certified professional programs and earn the certification that shows you are fit for these technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
Now let us try to understand what is happening behind the scenes. So in boot, auto configuration, it's all because of auto configuration. So let me show you the auto configuration related to security. Now, if I go to Maven dependencies, there will be a dependency called as Spring Boot Auto Configure. If I open this, under that meta inf, here there will be a file called as spring.factories. Actually, all the auto configuration classes, if you know, is listed by using a key, enable auto configuration, and here you can see a lot of comma separated configuration files. So whenever I start Spring Boot, automatically all these configuration classes will be used to create application context. Now coming to security, there is one auto configuration in Orchid Spring Framework.boot.autoconfigure.security. In the security package here, I can see that there is an auto configuration class for security auto configuration. So all the magic is here. Let us see one by one. Security auto configuration. I'll open. Okay, here this being this is a configuration class. When it will be used? Conditional on class, default application event publisher. So this auto configuration will be used only if there's a class called as default authentication event publisher. This will be there in the class path only if I add Spring Boot Starter Security. So if I just add Spring Boot Starter Security, this class will be present and this auto configuration will be used. Now here there are some configuration files which are imported. Let me open the first one. Spring Boot Web Security Configuration. This is a configuration class, right? And here you can see some configuration. There's a bean of type security filter chain configured. Okay, security filter chain bean is configured, and here there is one conditional on default web security. Okay, so here is annotation, and this annotated is again conditional default web security condition. Yeah, here you can see that there is one more conditional on missing bean web security configurer adapter and security filter chain. Now I want you to understand here web security configurer adapter. This bean should be there by default, right? So let us see web security configurer adapter. Here, this is a class web security configurer adapter extending web security configurer. And if I go down, there will be configuration related to web security. You can see that there's a bean authentication manager configured, lot of things, user detail service configured, like that, right? And there is one important thing which is configured, configure method, where http.form login is configured and http basic is configured on HTTP security. So this is the place actually where form login has been configured as well as basic authentication is configured. Both are configured, but this will be used when you submit a web form, and this will work when there's a header in the request called as authorization header, right? So both are configured by default. Where is it? Let me tell you again. Actually, for security, there is auto configuration, security auto configuration. Okay, this is the class. And when this auto configuration will be used for security, if this conditional on class, right? So this class default authentication event publisher will be there in the class path only if I add Spring Boot Starter Security. Since I add it, it will be there, so this will be taken. Then here, this is actually importing Spring Boot Web Security configuration, and here in Spring Boot Web Security configuration, here you can see here also there is a bean defined where the bean type is security filter chain. We are defining a security filter chain where this is taking HTTP security, and here we are configuring, this is configuring any request should be authenticated using form login and HTTP basic. Here also it is there. And there is one more class, web security configure adapter, where there's a configure method. Here also there are both places, right? By default, it is configured to use form login and basic. Now, I don't want form login. Earlier by default, I got a web form, right? I don't want form login. I want HTTP basic authentication. How do I override the defaults? Here, what you can do is, let me show you. If you want to override the defaults, what you can do is, I'll go to my code. I can actually create a subclass of web security configuration and make it to extend web security configure adapter. Or do you see there's a class called as web security configure adapter, which we saw? Web security configure adapter, this we saw, right? Right? So this class is internally having a logic to, where is it? Yeah, to enable both form login as well as basic, HTTP basic. Now what I can do is I can define my own class extending web security configure adapter. Okay, let me import it. Okay, let me stop it first. Okay, so I'll import it. Then see, in this web security configure adapter, which is a method where they have configured form login and basic configure method. So I'll try to override configure method, which is taking HTTP security. Now we have enabled only HTTP basic. There is no HTTP form. So only basic security is enabled. That's all is a change what I did right now. Let me restart it. Starting. Okay. So now better I'll close this browser and then try to open a new private window again. Okay, now just see, I got a pop-up. I'm not shown with the HTML form. I'm prompted to specify username and password by the browser. Let me cancel this. I can provide right now. Let me say my user and my password. I'll be redirected, right? So it is working, but let me show you what happens when I give a request. I'll again open a new private window. Now right click and I'll say inspect element. Here I will get network. I want to show you what all calls will go out of this browser and what is the response coming when I give a request. So I'll give a request now. Okay, now a browser prompted me. Instead of giving username and password, I'll press cancel. Okay, now you can see here this is a request for /hello, name is equals to Prasad, and here I want you to see the headers, request headers and response headers. There is one response header, status code, you can see 401. 401 means what? Unauthorized, right? And in the response, you can see there's a header called as www.authenticate, and basic ream is equals some ream. So based on this header, the browser will understand, oh, the server wants the credentials to be sent using basic authentication, and that's how it is prompting me. So whenever browser gets 401 status code along with header www-authenticate, and if its value is basic like this, the browser will actually prompt me for username and password, right? And what is this realm? Realm actually on server side in security terminology, realm represents a place where security credentials are stored, right? So let's assume that I might have my security credentials stored in a database, and I also have some more credentials stored on LDAP. So how many realms do I have? Two realms, database realm and LDAP realm. So whenever browser is prompted with this header, the browser will understand, okay, the server is requesting for basic authentication, and the user has to submit credentials for a realm called as this realm. By default, this realm called as realm, right? So user has to provide the credentials for that particular thing. Suppose the realm is database realm, user has to provide the credentials as per the database, right? So that's how basic security works. Now let me refresh it once more. It's asking me for username and password. I'll give username as my user and password as my password. I will get the response. Now I want you to observe here in this request. In the request, you can see there's a header called as authorization header. When the browser is sending, there's a header called as authorization header, and the value is basic, and this is the base 64 encoded username colon password.
Hey viewers, are you looking for formal training on SRE practices? Take our SRE program. This course will teach you how to successfully implement site reliability engineering in the modern day 24/7 services. Kickstart your SRE training today. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
Copy and I'll paste it on my notepad. So actually this is what base 64 encoded username colon password. So when something is base 64 encoded, it can be easily decoded, right? Let me go to Google. Oh, sorry. Google. So I'll just search for base 64. Sorry, base 64 decode. Okay, I'll just take the first one. Yeah, if I paste my base 64 encode value and click on decode, it will show the username and password, right? So whatever username and my password which I am giving, it is seen. It can be seen by somebody. If some hackers are there, they can easily know my username and password. So basic security is not very good, but this is a concept how it works. For making it secure, there is something called as digest authentication, which I will talk about later. But understand that basic security, basic authentication is not good, because whenever you are using basic authentication, the browser will send your username and password as base 64 encoded value like this, using a header called as authorization, and that base 64 value can be easily decoded, and some hackers will know your username and password, right? So that's it. Now you understood how to enable basic authentication, but still you are not confident. I want you to understand what is the basic flow when the request comes, what is happening, what are all the important filters which are responsible. Everything I want you to visualize. let me show you step by step. Okay, so I'll just run through this presentation so that I will not miss anything. As I told you, whenever request comes from web client to your servlet container, that means Tomcat, and we have a delegating filter proxy before the dispatcher servlet. So even before the request comes to dispatcher servlet, this filter will be executed. What is the name of the filter? Delegating filter proxy. And delegating filter proxy will internally delegate to, as I told you, filter chain proxy, which is a chain of filters, right? Now, in filter chain proxy, there can be multiple filter chains, as I told you. Okay, there can be multiple filter chains. Here you can see whenever you have multiple filter chains, what is the order of execution of filter chains? You have to give an order 1, order 2, like that. So the order, whoever order is lesser, that will be executed. If you see here in my web security configuration, I have used an order 2. I have used this order 2 just for one purpose. Right now, this is the way you can specify the order for your configuration. So that configuration, whatever configuration you are writing here, that will be having an order 2. So when you have multiple filter chains configured, order is very important. And then whenever we are configuring filter chains, we'll configure filter chains and map them for some URLs. So here in this diagram, I'm saying /portfolio, any request matching this, for this security chain will be applied. For /admin, this security chain will be applied. So you can see in this filter chain, there is basic authentication filter, which is responsible for basic authentication. And maybe for another one, here I configured digest authentication filter. So if any request is coming to /portfolio, this filter chain will execute and it uses basic authentication. And for this URLs, it uses digest based authentication, right? So as you see here, security filter chain, as you saw this security filter chain, it is interface like this. Every security filter chain has to be mapped or matched with some URIs. You can see in this diagram, the first security filter chain is matched to what? /portfolio, and this second security filter chain is mapped or matched to /admin. So there's a method which matches whether the security chain will match or not. And as I told you, every security filter chain will have list of filters. See, this is one security filter chain. It has a number of filters. So this is the interface represented, right? Then these are the various important filters which I'm going to discuss. Okay, let me do it step by step. Here I have already configured 5 use cases. So actually there are a lot of filters I'm going to show you, but these are the important filters. Security context persistence filter, logout filter, authentication filter, remember me filter, all this. Let us see based on various use cases, right? So first scenario is user is trying to hit an unsecured resource prior to login. The user is not logged in. Let's assume that the request is coming for /home. I don't want my home page to be secure. This is an unsecured URL. So if user is giving request to any unsecured URL, what is the flow? First filter is security context persistence filter. Okay, I told you already what is security context. Once user is logged in successfully, I told principal and authorities will be populated into authentication. Authentication will be populated into security context. Security context will be kept in session. This all happens when user is logged in. If user is not logged in, security context will not be there in session, right? Now coming back. So what is the scenario? User is trying to hit an unsecured resource prior to login. He is not yet logged in. So when the request comes to the first filter, security context persistence filter, it will check, is there security context in session? No, right? Because user is not yet logged in. So it will create an empty security context. That means empty security context means it is not populated with authorities. It is not yet populated with this. These are not populated. Empty security context is created and it will be kept in session. Okay. Then is this a logout request? No. So logout filter will not do anything. Is this an authentication request? Actually, what is scenario? User is trying to hit an unsecured page, home page. Let's say this is unsecured, and even before logging in. So user giving a request to /home. Is this an authentication request? It means our username and password coming here? No. So this will do nothing. Remember me filter. Actually, hope you know what is this remember me. Maybe in many of the websites like Google, you have remember me checkbox, is it? So the server will remember you, right? So basically, it is based on some cookies called as remember me cookie. So it will check, is there any remember me cookie? In this case, no. So it will not do anything. Next one is exception translation filter. Is there any exception? No. So we'll go to next one. Filter security interceptor. Now this will check what resource are you trying to access? Home page which is not secure. So there is no security configured for this. So the security interceptor will allow the request to go through. That's the reason. Then your home page will be displayed. Control will come back again. And then finally your home page will be displayed. This is the flow when user is trying to hit an unsecured resource before logging in. And once the control is coming back, here this filter, we check, is security context updated? No, it is still not updated. So it will be removed from the session. Right? Okay. Now, second scenario, I'll tell you. What is second scenario? User is trying to hit a secured resource prior to logging in. User is not yet logged in. He is trying to hit a secured page. Now, see here, the request came in. User is not logged in. So will there be security context in session? No. So this will create a new security context and it is empty. Then control will come back here. Is this a logout request? No. Here in this case, user is trying to hit a secured page. Is this a request containing username and password? Not yet. It's just trying to hit an unsecured page. Sorry, secured page. No username and password. So this will do nothing. Is there remember me cookie? No. Is there exception? No. Now finally, when it comes to filter security interceptor, it will check. You're trying to access a secured page. Something like secured page, right? But the user is not logged in. So this will throw an exception called as authentication exception. So filter security interceptor is very important. This will throw an exception called as authentication exception. Then the control will go back to the previous filter, which is nothing but exception translation filter. Now there's an exception, right? What is exception? Authentication exception. So when there is an authentication exception, this filter, in this case, it will redirect to login URL entry point, which will show me the login page. Right? That's how we were redirected to login page. So who is actually redirecting you to login page? Where is the logic? Inside login URL entry. And of course, that is invoked by exception translation filter. So I can say that this exception translation filter is redirecting me to login page. Okay. So till now, you can see all this. Let me show you how it works through code. Okay, I'll stop it. Right now, let me work with HTTP security. So what? I will just comment out this part. I'll comment out this part. So by default, it will go for form log. Now let me debug. So I started in debug mode. Now I will open delegating filter proxy. Delegating filter proxy. Control Shift T. Delegating filter proxy. This is the one. So I told you in my diagram. Delegating filter proxy. This is a filter actually, right? So I opened this filter, and if I go down, there's a method in this called as do filter. Here there is a call to something called as invoke delegate. I'll keep a breakpoint over here. By double clicking, I'll keep a breakpoint. Now I want you to observe. I'll give a request. So I'll close the browser and I'll open one more private window. Okay. So it is in debug mode. Let me switch to debug mode. Now I kept a breakpoint at this place in delegating filter proxy. I want to see here the variables when I'm at this place. Here I'm seeing delegating filter proxy registration bin. Inside this, there is filter chain proxy. Filter chain proxy. This is a bin. As I told you, filter chain proxy. FCP. As I told you, delegating filter proxy will delegate to filter chain proxy. And these are filter chain proxy. The name is what? Spring Security Filter Chain. And here you can see list of filter chains. How many filter chains are there right now? Only one. What is this? Default security filter chain. And here you can see the request matcher. It matches any request. For any request, this is a single filter chain. Now if I expand this filter chain is having list of filters. You can see here in this list of filters, I'll expand this. Yeah, you can see by default there are 14 filters. Do you see here filter security interceptor, exception translation filter? These are two things I told. There are other things also like session management filter, all these things. And here there is but username authentication filter. This is the authentication filter. One filter for logouts, CSRF, security context persistence filter. Do you see here? So these are all the important filters, whatever I mentioned. Security context persistence filter is there? Yes. Logout filter, authentication filter in this case is username authentication filter. And one. And and then here exception translation filter. I told you that exception translation filter is the one which will delegate to what? An entry point, login URL entry point. So let me expand this exception translation filter. Here you can see entry point. which is nothing but authentication entry point is nothing but delegating authentication entry point. Expand it. What is the default entry point? In this case, login URL authentication entry point.
Thanks for watching. Want to study further? Join our training programs today.